What is up? It is Bears Day today. Bear down. Let's go Chicago Bears. We're talking about Brian's favorite team. He's actually joining us here pretty soon. Here shortly in a bit. But I'm excited to see what this team does. But before I start the recap of what they did last year, right off the bat, how excited are you for the Bears, Mark, or are you like, okay?
No, I'm kind of excited. I want to see what Justin Fields can bring.
Okay.
Third year in the system.
Right.
I mean, I know I've combated with Brian from time to time about Fields, but I still want all the best for him. I don't want him to suck.
No. Well, that's our boy. You know, and
I know you like him as well.
He's a Chicago Bears fan, and we like Justin Fields. Here on this channel, we kind of have support for him, and that has nothing to do with Brian at all. Like honestly, I think we still haven't seen his ceiling. So, look, the Bears went 3-14, right, in last year, which probably easily one of the worst records of last year. They were rewarded, I guess, in a sense, for Bears fan, the number 1 overall draft picks, right? Now, what they do with that, they traded with the Carolina Panthers, ended up with the 9th pick, and Carolina did what they did with their pick, which we already established. As a part of that trade, the Bears also got DJ Moore, a first-round pick, which was the 9th pick, a second-round pick, which was the number 61, I believe, which I think ended up changing during the draft. And then in 2025, they got another 2025 pick, which was a second-rounder as well. So they got a haul for DJ Moore. Now, as for back in 2021, they drafted Fields, and he went 3-12 in the last 15 starts. Not that great. While throwing 17 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, and his biggest impact on the ground was the 1,143 yards as a second most in the season in QB NFL history. So that was kind of remarkable to see. We still haven't seen his good arm. Like, I know he has a better arm than what we done. And then we have Ryan Poles, which, GM Ryan Poles had been doing a lot this offseason, bringing in running backs from Travis Homer from Seattle, Deontay Foreman from Carolina to replace David Montgomery, who they lost. And they also brought in tight end from Green Bay Packers, Robert Tonyan. And on defense, they also brought in Tremaine Edmonds to a 4-year deal with his $72 million. So Chicago had 10 picks coming in to this draft, with the exchange of Pittsburgh Steelers second round draft, the 32 pick Chase Claypool last season. So what they have 2 more picks in the second round. They also traded Roquan Smith from last year as well, which made kind of an impact for their number 1 overall pick from previous season. So with all that being said, let's bring in our boy, Brian. So he's a Bears fan. You've all seen him. You all love him. So yeah. What in the hell is that?
Since 1920, established 1920, Chicago Bears, National Football League. We're awesome. We're the charter franchise. We're it. Yes.
So better had that. What you mean by that, man?
So Mark, I'll drive. You close, man. You live close. I'll drive down there. Better have the right answer.
A biased Bears fan. Yeah, just a little
definitely.
bit.
But
I mean, if anything, this is the episode to do it. So
only slightly biased. No, I'm just kidding.
This is the Bears show, so kind of biased. We'll take part a little bit, but we're gonna break it down. So, as free agencies and what they brought in, the biggest one was DJ Moore, obviously through the trade. Tremaine Edmonds, which I've also mentioned. TJ Edwards was another big linebacker that they brought in from Philadelphia Eagles, which is a 3-year deal. And then with Travis Homer, Nate Davis, DeMarcus Walker,
yeah,
PJ Walker, who's backup, which I think is probably a good solid backup. And then Andrew Billings, also Robert Tonyan, which I've mentioned, Deontay Foreman, Dylan Cole, and Rasheem Green.
Yep.
So all these big time assets brought in. Tell me what you guys think about this before we start talking about the rookies, because I think it's going to make an impact. It's a new it's almost a new like team basically. Like these are all veterans that have experience somewhere else.
You want me to go first? Because I don't know.
Yeah, it don't matter. Either one of you.
I'll go first. I like what they did by not only getting trading down, still being at the 10th pick, but also getting DJ Moore and future first-round picks. I think DJ Moore is going to be leaned on for Fields as the number one receiver, and I think he can do it. And I think it's good for DJ Moore, too, because now he gets out of Carolina, which has had quarterback issues since he's been there. So it's good for him. I also like bringing in Tremaine Edmonds for the middle linebacker spot. Granted, they have like 30 middle linebackers, but I think he'll end up being the number one guy. I think he might not be quite as good as Roquan Smith was, but for the value, I think it'll suffice, and he could be Pro Bowler. So I like what they did on both sides of the ball with those moves.
Okay. See, I think Tremaine is more of a middle linebacker, and Roquan's more of a strong side linebacker. Roquan makes plays no matter what, and the problem is when you funnel to the strong side linebacker, a lot of times, it's kind of like anyone you put there is going to make the tackle. Anyone that's good. So why waste $20 million on someone who's just going to be just like anyone else? If you use them at middle linebacker, that's one thing. But once you move them to strong side linebacker, it changed the whole the story. And he's better than the 3-4 defense, honestly, because he's better in space. He's a great leader. That's a big loss for us. But when our entire defense was in shambles, so we had to remake the entire thing. That's why I was very happy that DeMarcus Walker, I think, is actually a big add-on, because we need defensive end help. We still need a rush. Our defensive backfield is much better. Our linebackers are much better. Up front, we are really shaky. So it's a lot that he's done, but there are definitely still holes left on this team.
Yeah, the defensive end part, like Gibson isn't that bad either, though. I don't think he's entirely too bad. I mean,
he's a rotational guy. I think that
right.
You need another guy there to be able to,
right. So speaking of defensive line, let's talk about these rookies. So go ahead, bring them in, Mark, and we'll kind of see where they fit.
Alrighty. So as Martin stated before, they traded back from the number one spot with the Panthers. They were able to get DJ Moore, like we mentioned, and then with the 9th pick, they actually traded back again with the Eagles so they could get Jalen Carter, and they ended up getting Darnell White, offensive tackle out of Tennessee, which was a big need for them. And then with their number 2, 53 overall, they got Gervin Dexter Sr., defensive tackle out of Florida, which was another big position they needed. And then they got Tyreek Stevenson, cornerback out of Miami, Zach Pickens, defensive lineman out of South Carolina, Roshan Johnson, running back Texas, Tyler Scott, wide receiver Cincinnati, Noah Sewell, linebacker out of Oregon, Travis Bell, defensive tackle out of Kennesaw State, and then Kendall Williamson, safety out of Stanford.
Yeah. How's it going, Pandemic? Tuning the Bears today. So no, I mean, my favorite ones obviously is Noah Sewell. Yeah, Noah Sewell is going to be pretty
second round talent. He's second round talent. He got the 5th round,
and they got him in the 5th. Yeah, like it's kind of interesting where, and especially the division he's in. So he's going to be going up against his brother twice a season. So if he can make a starting position, like I think. Between him and Tremaine Edmonds, it'll be like kind of a battle. I don't think he'll start over Tremaine Edmonds, but they have a lot of linebackers there that they brought in this offseason. So if he makes a start, then that'd be a great, kind of cool to see them going heads up against each other. So,
I can really see Sewell actually battling Sanborn. So once he gets into the defense and really understands what's going on in the defense, I can see him battling Sanborn for that spot. And Jack is great hustle, but Sewell just has he has everything you want in a linebacker that's going to play offside linebacker. And I think he could win it by week 4 or week 5. We could be seeing the changing of the guard, even though Sanborn is very young. I could see that happening.
I think with all the linebackers that they brought in, it's going to make it harder for Sanborn to even stay on the field.
Yeah.
I don't think they would have brought all these guys in if they didn't believe in him. And last year, he was basically the only guy available.
Mhm.
So it was kind of difficult for them to justify, are we putting all our eggs in the basket of Jack Sanborn? I don't know. So let's bring in more talent. So look, what Ryan Poles has been doing lately is pretty interesting and pretty good. Like they didn't have a bad free agency either.
No, I mean
So-
did well, and he still has money even right now.
Yes.
Even as far as Jack Sanborn, I mean TJ Edwards played with him in college. I mean, so he brought people in there are familiar with what he is, but if he does not perform, they also brought his backup in. Like they brought someone to replace him. If he doesn't, but I think he gets an opportunity because he's a great guy. I mean, you saw even in the summertime how he was a standout. We saw it coming, but I just don't know if he can hold on to that position, especially in a good defense.
Right. So Darnell Wright was unnecessarily needed, and they grabbed him at the 10th. We all knew who they were going to go with, but he didn't fall to them. Eagles kind of did that did them dirty there, but
yeah,
the Eagles also did a strategic Georgia Bulldog draft. So Darnell Wright isn't bad. I like Darnell Wright. He should come in, probably be immediate starter at right tackle, probably.
easily. Yeah.
The dude is what, 335 at
He's 6'5". He's 6'5" and a half.
Yeah.
He's 335. He runs a 5'140. The dude is a monster. And that's what they're saying right now in summer camp is that this dude is literally a stop. Like there's no one getting past him. He's just like a refrigerator. You need to go around him. You're not going to go through him at all, which is something they need. And Justin Fields needs to see that on his right side. Because, going away from your blind side, you worry about your left tackle, but going to your right side, you want to have confidence in that right tackle. And I think that's important that Darnell Wright will be there.
Right. I agree. So with Matt Eberflus being as head coach, with Luke Gessie as the offensive coordinator and Alan Williams being defensive coordinator, let's bring up the depth chart. And let me, you guys can see that. Let me blow it up real quick. There's a little better. There we go. All right. Let's talk a little bit about Justin Fields, because maybe not a little bit, because he's going to be the main focus of this, because there's a lot of people doubting him, and a lot of people just don't believe in him because of what they've seen. But then again, that's just today's football. I need to see what you get. What have you done lately? Kind of the term of what we always usually use.
Mm-hmm.
But he's been in a situation where he had Matt Nagy as his head coach, didn't really know what he was doing. He had no offensive line, no offensive pieces. Yeah, they drafted him during the time, but it was like they were still developing themselves. So it's kind of hard to put a guy at that caliber and that talent and be like, hey, jump into this cave of wolves and battle them yourself, because we can't do anything for you, but you can. So at some point, he just said, F it, I'm just going to start running. And that's exactly what happened year one.
Dude,
Towards the end, he just started running and doing his own thing.
You're 100% correct. Exactly what happened. Like that's...
no, and my prime example was the 49ers game. And it was like week 16, week 15. It was like one of those later games where he just said, I don't care. I'm just going to do my thing.
Yeah.
Year two came around. You could see the production there. He was still relying on the legs. Why? Because his line wasn't protecting him. They weren't giving little brother a little chance to throw the ball. And he didn't really have much weapons except for two. And Mooney was pretty much blocked the entire time, which leaves Kmet the only guy, and all those linebackers would just cover him.
Yep.
So at some point, it's like, what is a guy to do? Now they're actually making moves. I do like the Chase Claypool trade.
I do too.
Despite of everybody says, oh yeah, he hasn't done anything. I think it
stretches the field, and that's what's going to really need.
It wasn't like he was in the system from the beginning of the season to work with the playbook, and it was just kind of thrown in there. Mm-hmm. I want to see a little bit more out of him, because here's who Justin has behind him: PJ Walker, as we mentioned, and Nathan Peterman, who was a former Raider. Am I right?
Yes, he started for the Raiders for a while. Yeah.
Okay, so Do you have a decent backup QB? 2 of them? Yes. Have I seen them both? Yes. Do I expect Justin Fields to go down? Absolutely not. I don't wish upon injury upon any of these guys, but it happens. His targets are DJ Moore, Chase Claypool, and Darnell Mooney, Equanimeous St. Brown, Velus Jones for some reason, and Tyler Scott.
Tyler Scott is a steal. I don't know. I remember us talking about wide receivers, and I didn't even really notice him. And then as you start going down and start really figuring out who could be good, Tyler Scott, for where we picked him for a 4th round, I think that's the 4th round we got from Philadelphia. If I believe Tyler Scott's very, very similar to Darnell Mooney. So Darnell Mooney is in his contract year. If Tyler Scott has a decent year and Darnell Mooney wants $15 million, I can see Tyler Scott replacing Darnell Mooney.
Okay.
All right.
I
hope not, but it definitely can happen.
Okay. So, the run game is only as good as their line. Braxton Jones, Tevin Jenkins, Cody Whitehair, Nate Davis, Darnell Wright, and Cole Kmet and Robert Tonyan.
Yeah.
Tight end / lineman. So, Mark, tell us what you think about the run game with these guys. Like, they got 4 solid guys.
They do. Foreman, Herbert. I think, as Brian said, I think I'm leaning towards Roschon as towards the middle of the season. He's going to be the number 1 guy.
Yeah.
Like 6'2", 223. Like, dude's a beast.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like for him, his biggest issue in college, and like why he dropped so far, is because he had Bijan in front of him.
Right.
And he wasn't on the field as much because, you're not going to put Bijan on the bench. So
he was actually on the field 65% of the time.
Was he really?
It's because they will play him and Bijan together. That's how good he is. They will put him on the field together, and that's crazy. And actually, it's good for the NFL because we're going with shared backfields now. No one is the man anymore. You're sharing with someone. Hopefully, you can show what you got. So, I hope that it works out too, because I see him being a monster.
Yeah, depth chart wise, they have a deep backfield run game. Travis Homers is in there as well. So, Anthony, what's up, man? So we're doing the Bears. So Brian taking over the show. No, I'm not letting him.
No.
I told him there's a schedule we stick to, so he can't just ramble on and say whatever the hell.
But I feel like they did it right though, because they have 2 bruising backs in Foreman and Johnson, and then they got 2 more elusive backs in Homer and Herbert.
Yeah,
I think Herbert's the one who loses out the most though, because everyone thought that he had his opportunity last year to show that he could be the man, and the truth was he just can't pass block. He's not a good pass catcher. He doesn't pass block very well. And Roschon's going to come in to be the best pass blocker already. And Deontay Foreman is a professional running back. And when you have those professional running backs, he's going to play. And then Roschon's going to play too. Khalil's going to be that change of pace guy, which changes. He had his opportunity last year. That's just what it was.
They're all going to be healthy because Tristan Ebner is probably the best kick returner here. We've seen him.
They're putting Ebner and Homer both at kick return.
Okay.
On both sides.
They're going to have healthy backs. So Pina says I've been listening, and I got to say Fields MVP. Fields QB1 in 4-point leagues. I can see that.
Yeah. 4-point passing leagues? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. He was getting up there in these fantasy football leagues. Like, it was just like nuts because of his rushing upside. So if it's 4 points and he gets to 6 points per rush,
he'll be competing with Hurts and Jackson, but I think he'll be right up there with him.
Yeah, he will. You think Fields will be better than Cam Newton without taking hits? I think he already is better.
Yeah, I think that's not even a question.
He just has to prove it, and I think this is the year to do it. Or like, it's gonna happen. It's just a lot of people haven't seen it yet, and if they don't watch college, they don't know what Justin Fields can actually do.
He was a passing quarterback, and if Justin Fields gets 3,200 yards passing and 600 yards rushing, I think this offense, I mean, we're talking about MVP candidate for him because he changes the game differently. He's going to have a lot of touchdowns. He's going to be throwing and running for a lot of touchdowns. So a quarterback that has 35, 37 touchdowns, and if the Bears go from 3 wins to 9 wins or 10 wins, I mean, 10's a lot, but but in that realm, you can't. He's going to be in that conversation.
Yeah, guys, let's think about this. Coming into last year, his only targets were Cole Kmet, Darnell Mooney, Equanimeous St. Brown, and Velus Jones.
He said Velus Jones. He gets a joke.
And Khalil Herbert and Montgomery.
Yeah.
Okay, now Dante Foreman's in the mix. Roshan Johnson's in the mix. Robert Tunyon's in the mix. DJ Moore's in the mix. And Chase Claypool's in the mix. And I know we saw Chase Claypool, but I think it was just like too late to have anything running with him because it was like week 8, week 9 that they brought him in because of the trade deadline.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it takes a while for these players. Like, I just moved from Pittsburgh to Chicago, and I gotta try. Like, he's gonna be a difference maker this year. I think we'll see, and especially with DJ Moore. Now, am I taking these guys first round, second round in dynasty startups? No, probably Fields.
Oh,
in the
Fields
second,
is definitely,
maybe.
Yeah, Fields is up there. DJ Moore will be a 4th rounder, maybe. You know, I can see that.
And that's the thing. I think next year, if the Carolina Panthers just have an awful season, the Bears can take advantage of that and get themselves a high caliber receiver. I do still think they're gonna probably go defense, like at the defensive line. Let's just see what Pickens and Dexter do for them. But I think it's gonna be either their first pick or second pick next year.
Yeah.
And next year's receivers, it's very top heavy.
Yeah.
But that's next year's. I think it's receivers year, but they're good. I'd say the first 15 guys.
5 are number ones. I see 5 number ones and 10 guys who could come in and start for you, but not necessarily be, number 1 guys.
Right. So, offensively, I do see a change dramatically, and the only issue that they're going to have now is the Lions, because the Vikings defense sucks, and the Packers aren't really that big of a threat as much.
Yep.
Because surprisingly, even though Aaron Rodgers is out, his offense kept them up. So the Bears have a chance to potentially be the number 1 in division, but the biggest issue is the Lions. And I think the Lions have gotten a lot better in the last couple of years that, to me, I can easily say, yeah, they'll be number 1. But let's see what the Bears can do.
I don't know if the Bears can even affect the Lions. I think the Lions are the only one that can beat themselves. Like, literally, they're talent-wise, I mean, their offensive line is a monster.
They're in the way of the Bears. That's all I can say.
That's just what it is, and they're young, and as long as their quarterback plays well, I don't know if I can even say anything negative about the Lions, except for they just do stupid stuff. And another person's been entered into the betting scandal now. So I don't know. You just got to hope that they don't do something stupid. Because if they have Jameson there at the beginning of the season, I was looking at their thing. They can go 5-1, and then they have a much easier schedule after the first 6 games.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, it gets easier. It's just so. Yeah, that's gonna be a hard team to do.
But will the Lions lion? That's the question.
You never know from year to year.
Yeah. So, as for defense, we have DeMarcus Walker, Andrew Billings, Justin Jones, and Travis Gibson. I have a 4-3 or a weird 4-4 here, like kind of nickel type package.
Yeah, I got 4-3. 4-3.
4-3. Okay.
Yep.
I'm showing 4-3. My bad. But they always have some type of Bears. They own their own type of Bears defense. That's what I like about them. At will, they got TJ Edwards, Tremaine Edmonds here in the middle, and Jack Sanborn at strong side linebacker, with Jalen Johnson at the left side, Tyreek Steven at the right side corners, and then our safety Jaquan Brisker and Eddie Jackson, bringing in with the rookies of Terrell Smith, Kendall Williamson, Noah Sewell, Dexter, and Pickens as well. So they have a little bit of depth middle linebacker wise. It's the DBs and the line that I'm a little worried about if they could fulfill their roles.
I think DBs, Kyler Gordon, Tyreek Stevenson, and Jalen Johnson are great. And then Kendall Vildor is a starting type of kind of cornerback, you know. But once you go past 4, but that's any team that goes past 4,
right.
Now you're going to have a heavy drop off. But you have one injury doesn't hurt you, so I feel like that's okay.
And then also their safeties are so good that it can make up for any mistakes the DBs do.
Exactly.
Because Jackson and Brisker,
that's monsters.
That's monsters. Yeah, that's scary right there, honestly.
I expect Brisker to be one of the top 5 DBs safeties this year.
Yeah,
I really do. He's that good.
Him and Kyle Hamilton.
Right, Kyle Hamilton gets onto that field. That's exactly why I think those two are amazing. And then Eddie Jackson is just a playmaker. So if you have guys that could man up all around, Eddie Jackson is a ball hawk. That's what he did at Alabama. That's what he's been doing for the Bears. So, and he had a good bounce back year last year. He really did.
Right. So with Brisker being back there, and you know, I have this special place in my heart for this guy because we never would have really discovered this guy. Like, I'm pretty sure at some point we would have through Brian, or at least when he came up on waivers last year. But we discovered this guy a lot sooner than we expected because of Micah Parsons shouting this guy out, and then we checked him out. And actually, no, who was it that we were watching? It was one of the linebackers, and we kept noticing his number was on the field all the time, right? I can't remember what it was. During our film reviews. I don't know if you remember, Mark. But we started watching more and more. And then we noticed that his draft capital was actually rising. And we're like, that doesn't surprise me on how well he plays and how well he makes these. He's always involved in almost every play. And we're like, all right, well, let's see how that transitions to the NFL. Still the same player, the same motor, the same play style. This guy is amazing.
He is. Yeah.
And
it's funny you said it because you know he led the Bears in sacks.
No, yeah. This guy is everywhere. So is he designated linebacker safety yet?
No, he's only safety, but that boy, he should be something. I mean, when you have 4 sacks and over 100 tackles, come on, man.
Mark, you have him.
I do. And I do remember we were watching something and we were like, who's that safety back there?
It was always popping up. It was the same.
We were like, so we started looking into him. Next thing you know, it's like he went from being like a 4th or 5th, also they're like 2nd rounder.
Yeah. Because that was Penn State. He was that senior, his junior year. I think it was his junior year. He was just mauling people. Like, and they had a great line, so they kept people off of him, and then he was able to just fly to the ball. So if you allow this guy to fly to the ball, you're in trouble because he's a missile.
Yeah, it was just towards the end of the season. I was looking at the waivers, and I was like, Brisker's just sitting here.
I think I was talking to Martin. I was like, man, I can't believe Brisker's on your damn waiver line. What is going on?
Yeah, I remember we had that
so many quarterbacks. You had so many safeties. It was just like, okay, well, I guess you can't do it.
I'm like, well, I don't know. But he's been there because we were talking about it like early in the season. I'm like, bro, I don't know why, but he's sitting there for like weeks.
And then the first week I picked him up, dude scored 20 points.
So he does, though.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, but I remember having that conversation with Brian. I'm like, I'm too stacked at safety that I don't have room for him, but someone's going to be having. I'm glad Mark grabbed him.
At least someone that appreciates it,
right?
that knows that goes see it.
Dude, I was like, my eyes widened when I saw him. I was like, wait a minute, what?
There's certain players in our league or certain owners in our league that if they grab him,
this guy not on a team?
You know, because there's certain owners that if they grab IDP players and they just don't know what to do with them,
they put them on the bench.
Why are you even grabbing him?
Right?
Like, just come on. So, all right. Our segment that we've been doing with these rosters, and I don't care who goes first, but who you absolutely grabbing, who you gambling on, and who you absolutely just not touching at all when it comes to Dynasty. And it could go IDP or offense.
Defense. Oh, okay.
We usually alternate.
Yeah, but Brian,
it could be
I
anybody.
don't know you. I mean, I'm gonna let you go.
Mark, you go first, and then I'll go for that. I'll go after.
Well, there's some obvious ones. I mean, obviously Justin Fields. But for me, I'm gonna go DJ Moore. I feel like it's gonna be kind of a renaissance for him this year. I feel like he could easily be top 10 for sure, even top 5 receiver this year. Yeah. Finally having that solid quarterback, and then with the offensive line being revamped as well, like I don't know. I just feel like DJ Moore is gonna explode. So he's my definitely take. Am I gonna keep going, or are we gonna just
no? Do all 3, and then we'll try and pick up different people.
I'm gonna do just rookies.
So we like to pick.
I'm gonna do only rookies.
Keep it the same.
I'm gonna do only rookies. So you guys do whatever. That way I can be different. Only with the rookie.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And then gambling. For gambling, I'm gonna go Cole Kmet just because I feel like he's another one who's been there for 3 years, 4 years.
Yeah.
I feel like this could be his breakout year as well.
I agree.
You have Robert
8 touchdowns last year.
Yeah, you have Robert Tonyan behind him, but I feel like that's a new thing, right? Everyone getting at least 2 tight ends now.
Yep.
Like that's nuts. But I feel like it will be Cole Kmet's job to be number 1, and I feel like this could, again, with the offensive line, Justin Fields actually having the time to scan the field, Cole Kmet's going to become his security blanket. He's going to be like, no one's open here. Boom, Kmet, you're open. And at 6'6", he should be the red zone target.
As long as Justin Fields learn how to throw the ball with someone that looks covered, but once they turn, if you hit them in the right pocket, they're open. It's different in the NFL than in college. I think that was something that he had a problem with the beginning of last year, and he really worked on towards the end of the year, and that's why Cole Kmet started catching. I think he had like almost 48, 50 balls last year because all of a sudden that's what that ended up happening.
Yeah. As far as who am I not taking, probably anybody on this defensive line. I mean, I'm not even aware of half of these names.
I could tell you about it, but you're 100% right. I would take any of those.
Yeah. I feel like that is by far the weakest position group on the entire team.
What's up, Teo? Says honestly, I love this roster, but when my eyes skim across Claypool, I cry a little inside. Yeah, I think they need to evaluate, or they need to do a little bit more on him than what they did last year.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
So, do you want to go last? Or you want to go second?
I'll go second because I'm going all rookies. So
okay, go ahead.
My must-have, my guy, I think that's going to blow up everything and change the way that they do stuff is Roschon Johnson. I really believe he will be not just the starting running back. I believe he runs for 1,000 yards this season and he gets 8 to 10 touchdowns out of a guy who we're talking about Dynasty, like maybe a 3rd, 4th round, depending on how well you know. If it's a redraft league, I mean, he's not going to even get drafted. So no one even knows about this guy. I believe he's going to blow up, and he's going to be our number 1 running back for the next 3 years. And we're going to be looking at him like we looked at David Montgomery. He reminds me of that type of running back. So I think that's my must-have, no question, home run.
Okay.
Am I taking a chance? I'm taking a chance on Tyreek Stevenson. I like the way he plays. I really do, but I worry about him. He gambles a lot, and in this defense, if you gamble when you have playmaking safeties, they're not sitting there trying to watch your back, and he might get a lot of points taken on him, and he might miss a lot of stuff. Even though he's a very aggressive corner, I still would worry about him as far as IDP purposes. But I would take a chance on him because he could have a great upside because it might end up being your number 1 corner soon. Then if people are going away from Johnson because, especially IDP goes, you go away from Jalen Johnson, so you're going to go to the other receiver. You want to test someone, you want to test the rookie. Tyreek might be the guy. If he gets a couple tackles, get a couple of interceptions, wow, that's a diamond in the rough that you found, and you're probably not wasting anything on him.
Not bad. All right.
As far as someone I'm not going to touch, it's same as with Mark. Nothing on this defense. I don't want to see Dexter Senior. I don't want to see Zach Pickens because as someone like as we drafted them, I started to break them down. They are very inconsistent, and that worries me, especially with defensive linemen. When you're inconsistent, that means that I know Zach Pickens played in the gap scheme, and he had to take on blocks a lot of times to allow the linebackers to flow. But because he stood up all the time, and that worries me. As far as Javon, he's very similar to. He's in the gap system, but he will get driven off the ball, and then he'll swim and then make plays. But that's not going to happen when you got a guy who's a professional like that's strong. I don't want anything to do with the defensive linemen. I don't want even near my team. As far as my ID for IDP purposes, because I don't know if they're going to make any plays at all. And so that's where I am.
Okay.
Why do you not have Kyle Gordon on your depth chart?
Kyler Gordon, he should be starting. Yeah.
I got the comment right over it.
It's a slot. It's probably slot.
Is he the slot? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're like.
No, he's at the bottom. He's at the bottom. I got Anthony's comment up. Yeah, I do. To what Anthony's saying, I do.
Yeah, agree too.
I
mean, who's going to start in front? Who's going to be in front?
There's nobody better than what they have. It's the receiver room it's getting to one of the worst positions that they have, and we'll see it this year. Hopefully, they can stay healthy. But I do address. Like I said, I think they'll address the defensive line first, and then maybe a receiver with their second pick.
I think so
next
too.
year.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, I'm glad nobody went with the obvious and said Justin Fields is a must. I do like that. So obviously, everybody here would obviously go for Justin first. Yeah. But I guess if I were to go with my absolute must, I'm gonna go with Tremaine Edmonds.
I like that.
Tremaine Edmonds they brought him in for Buffalo. In the last couple of seasons, he has impressed me. When he first came in, he wasn't doing what I expected him to do as a top-tiered linebacker for the Bills. But it was a slow start and slowly got better and better and better. As his last year in the Bills, he did amazing. So now that the Bears are bringing him in, then with TJ Edwards bringing in, and he should be able to teach Noah Sewell all the ropes, everything that he needs, because I think Noah's going to be a special linebacker eventually. Because he has this motor, he's really fast. So
tackling machine. He's a machine.
Yeah. So I think he's going to be a great asset. So I think I'm going to take Tremaine Edmonds. He's still got some good tread on the tires left. So as for Dynasty, for an IDP league, I'll take him there. As for my gamble, and I'm not saying, and it's interesting that your must take, Brian, was Roschon Johnson. That's my gamble, but it's not a bad gamble. I think it's because I don't know what's going to happen in the first couple years. Is he going to be the guy for the next couple, 2-3 years? Yes. But we've been talking about that all these teams are bringing in a second running back eventually.
Yep.
If they bring in another running back who's better than him or something, like it's not going to change the fact that I don't want him. It's just going to change the work that he's going to get. So I'll take a gamble on Roschon Johnson as my gamble because he's going to be there for the next 3-4 years. And I do believe in him. And I do believe what we've been noticing, that exactly what Mark said at the beginning, that Bijan was the guy. So it's kind of hard for him to get all the spotlight. So he's going to be a productive back. Khalil Herbert and him probably will be the guys. And Foreman, he's interesting to me, but I don't know about how it's the backfield for these guys is going to be weird.
I wouldn't be surprised if someone gets cut. I would not.
It might be Ebner, but cut the sophomore. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think you practice squad Ebner, and then possibly even one of these 4 guys might end up getting cut, just because if Roschon does become that guy that they could see becoming Matt Forte, something like that, then yeah, someone else will get cut.
Yeah, and it's a big might for him. That's why right now he's my gamble.
I understand that.
So for the guy that I'm not grabbing at all, and I just don't think that it's gonna be a big impact, even though they just brought him in. I still think that Cole Kmet's going to be better than Robert Tonyan. I'm not grabbing Robert Tonyan.
I agree with that too.
Robert Tonyan did do some amazing things in Green Bay, but he came from an organization that tight ends weren't really utilized as well. This could be a new kickstart for him, could say, but I don't see him outdoing Cole Kmet. So if you have him on your dynasty team, I'm not saying drop him, and I'm not saying, you're not going to get a lot for him. I'd keep him around, see what he does, because if Cole Kmet goes down, he's the next guy up, and who knows, they might go double tight on some of these plays near the goal line. So we're just going to have to see, but I don't think I'm going to waste a lot of capital on him, and I don't think I'm going to.
Also, would he ever really fully recover from his injury? Because
I don't know.
So last season, he really did not. Like you saw flashes of it, but you remember Robert Tonyan, it was a receiving tight end, a great receiver in college. So that's what you were expecting from him, and that he's never became that again. I mean, he had
Rodgers doesn't utilize his tight ends very well.
But he was just hurt. He was hurt a lot of that season too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna figure out the Green Bay just doesn't know how to recover or how to do like ACL surgery because Bakhtiari still hasn't come back from it.
Exactly. I don't know what's going on with that. But what's interesting about Robert Tonyan is that he's from Chicago, so this is his chance to come be home. So he's been a Bears fan his entire time. His family's all from here, so this could be something that they end up running double tight. I could see a situation where Robert Tonyan gets you 6 or 7, maybe touchdowns. If Justin Fields has I can see a situation.
I'll give him 5 max.
Well, I don't know. It depends because I see you double tight. What's going to happen? Double tight then that boot, the double tight boot with Justin Fields as a runner, and then you have both tight ends over the top. That could be weapons. But it depends because if Chase Claypool, it's only going to be one other guy because the Chase Claypool could take that spot. Cole Kmet could be that spot. Robert Tonyan could be that spot. So it's only be one of those guys that are going to be able to get those other touchdowns. Because if Chase Claypool has a great beginning of the season, they're going to ride with him. He's 6'4", he's 225, he's faster, he's going to break away. So they're only going to be one.
Okay. But overall, man, it's interesting what they're going to do. Are they going to be better? I think so. Are they going to have a little bit more winning percentage? I do believe so. And with that being said, let's talk about what they have in store for schedule. Let's go back to this. So the Bears' schedule is kind of I don't know, easy. It's kind of hard at the beginning.
7th easiest schedule in the league.
Yeah. So, damn, I don't have my schedule, but so week 1 they have Green Bay. So they're going. They host Green Bay, then they travel to Tampa Bay, Kansas City, then they come back home for Denver, travel to Washington, then they host Minnesota, Las Vegas, then they have 2 more road games at Chargers and the Saints, then they host the Panthers. That one should be an interesting for me. And then they have Detroit and Minnesota just before the bye at week 13. So a nice end bye before what we would consider fantasy playoff era. So
what's also interesting is in the schedule is that from between week 5 and 6, there's 10 days. Between week 10 and 11, there's 10 days. And then you get the bye in week 13. So they almost have 2 mini buys built into the schedule along with their long bye in week 13.
They're going to have a lot of rest.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of rest. If you get hurt, you can recover. They have these opportunities.
Mm-hmm. So after the bye, we go to Detroit, Cleveland, or we don't travel to Detroit. They come to us. Then we travel to Cleveland. Then we host the Cardinals, the Falcons, and then we end the season. We opened it up with the Green Bay Packers. So, take a minute, look at these teams, and whenever you're ready, I guess we can kind of see how many wins you have. Because right now, I'm thinking they're going to beat Tampa Bay.
Yep.
I think Washington's going to be interesting, but I think they sneak away with it. Maybe Washington sneaks away with it. I don't know. That one's going to be an interesting primetime one on Thursday. And it's against you two, so
I know.
It depends
Just
on
like
how
last
tough
year.
That Denver game. If the Denver game is tough and we lose a close one, that Washington game is going to be even tougher because you got 4 days to turn around. Ooh, you don't.
Oh,
that
yeah.
defensive line.
And it's in Denver too.
Yeah, so
Right.
that's where.
With that being said, I forgot.
I was looking at that.
Washington.
Yeah, I think we beat Green Bay week 1. I believe.
I think you beat Green Bay week 1 too.
I think Tampa Bay we win week 1. I mean week 2. I'm sorry. Kansas City
playing them back to back week 1.
Yeah,
I say they split with Green Bay.
Yeah, I think that we win this one, and then that last one, it depends on if it's for the division or not. If it's for anything in Green Bay, I mean, in Chicago, we're going to beat Green Bay. If everything is all focused on all these offseason moves, I think that we beat them. And this is Jordan Love's first game. Week 18, it depends. It really depends on what we're playing for. You know,
it's not in Denver. It's in Chicago, isn't it?
Oh, it is in Chicago. You're right.
Yeah, you're right.
So that does change it a little bit.
Yeah,
but
a little bit.
Yeah.
It does change it a little bit.
For some reason, I thought Orange was home, but then I see the ads, and I'm like,
I'm
wrong. I'm dead wrong here.
Yeah, sometimes when I look at this, it's a little different. I usually pull up my own.
That's fine.
I use this just to, I don't know, look cool, I guess. I
like it. It's cool.
Damn, 1, 2, 3, 4,
5,
maybe 5.
I'm sitting at about around
5 games.
You're sitting at 8 to 9. 8 and 9 is just so hard right now. I'm at between 8 and 9.
I'm sitting at 6.
Well, I think just to help you out, Arizona's a win. Carolina's a win.
Oh yeah.
And,
yes.
All right, and in this
Tampa Bay's a win.
Tampa Bay's a win, and in this division we split 95% of the time.
I'm gonna say Carolina is a win too.
Yeah, I mean, I think Carolina is a especially that week, Thursday. Yeah, no, I think it was a definite win. And then I have split with the Vikings and split with the Packers, but I don't think you beat Detroit. I think Detroit sweeps. Coming off the bye, we could beat Detroit. That's
okay,
and it's at home. It makes everything lines up. Oh, bye week at home against Detroit. Yeah, no, I think we win. We win against that game too. But that's 3 wins in the division, and then I said Arizona, Carolina, and then Tampa Bay. That's 6, right? And then
all right, yeah, I'm at 6.
I see 6.
I reworked it. I ended up at 6.
3. Arizona's 4, 5, 6. Probably I'm gonna say Washington we win. So 7 for me, and I'm gonna go with New Orleans is 8. I think Atlanta will be very interesting.
8,
I think
9, 10, 11, 12. All right.
Yeah, 12. I said 8 before. I said 8 before. So I don't think I just don't see Denver. I don't know what team that is, so I can't count. You can't count a team winning if you don't know what the hell they are. So that I don't know what the hell that is. Minnesota, I said we split with them. We split with all the divisions. Vegas might not be a good team. That might be a win.
Oh, I don't know. I have you beat Vegas.
So I mean, Vegas could be a win too. I don't know.
Plus, it's in Chicago. So.
Yeah, I mean, Chargers I won't count as a win.
No,
New Orleans will be interesting. Carolina is a definite win to me. At Detroit, I don't think we win. At Minnesota, I think we win. I think we lose 2 going to the bye, and then we win Detroit. We're not going to win Cleveland. Cleveland's just a tough team. And then we beat Arizona, and then those last 2 games are what's going to determine if we win 8 or 9 games. Those last 2 games were really.
Yeah, I have you being swept by Detroit. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't think that we'll have that, but that's okay.
Which one are you? Or what was that, Mark?
I said I have them being swept by Detroit, and then I actually
that's what I have.
And then I have you losing to New Orleans just because it's in New Orleans. I think it's going to be a close game. I think you could beat New Orleans.
We're the same team, and that's why
yeah,
I look
exactly.
at it. We're the same team. New Orleans and Atlanta, we're the same exact team. That's why I like all three of us are the same people.
And then I just have you losing to Atlanta because in Atlanta's episode, I had you losing to Atlanta. So I'm just trying to stay, even
consistent
here. Yeah,
consistent. But I also don't think we're going on this huge losing streak at the end of the season either. So that's why I think one of those games we're going to pull out. So that's why I say 8.
But in Green Bay, weeks 18, that could be a horrible game to play.
Yeah, it could be.
I know, but that's why I don't. If it's a game where I don't want to even think about, I'm not going.
That's why I feel like you could beat him week 1. I think week 1 is the best time to beat him because
Green Bay might be terrible.
To see what they are.
Green Bay might be terrible too.
Yes,
and that's the other thing we don't know. You could sweep Green Bay. I don't know.
It's a possibility.
Yeah, but
I just don't. 6.
I just don't see it.
I'm still sitting at 6.
Yeah, I'm at 6 as well.
I know Vegas has a 7.5.
Yeah,
so I'm pretty sure that we're should be around 7.
Man in the chair is not here, but he did give me the information. Everyone has them at 7.5.
Yeah, so
okay,
and that's why I say 8.
You say 8. Yeah. We say 6. I'm kind of leaning 7, depending on what these. So we'll so between 6 and 8, we'll go with 7.
I see 6, but I mean, if you get 8, even 9, I wouldn't be shocked. Honestly.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I think 9 to 10 is where you just are really
if
just like okay.
Squeak out the Saints game. You do beat the Falcons. Mm-hmm. You do beat the Packers at the end. If you
sweep the Packers, that's
3 wins.
That's easy.
I really wouldn't.
I'm telling you, that Detroit game. I'm telling you, coming out of the bye, I wouldn't be surprised we end up winning that game too.
All right. So between all three of us, we're gonna go with 7. Yeah,
it's not a terrible number.
Because you said 8, right, Brian?
Yeah, I say 8.
Okay. All right. So far this is our bracket. Overall, we're a lot less closer than what we were last year. But even then, I think we were still off by like a game or 2. So far we've done the Colts, the Texans, the Raiders, and the Falcons, the Panthers, the Cardinals, the Eagles, and the Seattle Seahawks. So if you guys want to go check out those teams. Now, some of the news might have changed since then due to recent teams making moves or trades.
Or injuries.
Possibility of a trade. So what is up, Anthony? We were talking about the Bears today. So we just went over the schedule, and Brian had 8. Myself and Mark were bouncing around between 6 and 7.
Well, I did have 8 at the beginning, but then I re-looked at it, and I'm like, I can't do 8.
Okay. So I think I'm the one who's probably at 7, but so far we're going to give them 7 wins. And then we're going to come back to this sheet. Of course, I'm still updating. I still got to make the city backgrounds for these other teams over here to the right and whatnot. So it should come to a weird kind of playoff type thing. When we're done with all 32 teams, myself and Mark, we're going to make a are we making a playoff episode with what we have here?
A playoff prediction episode? I do believe we will have that.
Yeah. So
we'll see who our division winners are. We'll see who the wild card people are, and then we'll kind of make a bracket and then do our projections for.
Yeah. So during the week, we're still gonna we'll still after we do the weeks after the week shows, like during the week we'll continue and we'll do 1 or 2 more. I think we'll do an AFC one and then we'll do an NFC one.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll maybe do a third one, do the whole thing.
We'll do an AFC one, an NFC one, and then we'll do like a playoff one.
Brian does. He talks about the Bears. As a matter of fact,
I probably do.
He tries to get the Bears. I feel like
no matter what, it's he can. Anytime I can, I won't throw that in there. I mean, come on, guys. Let's just be real. But you know what? I will say this. It's gonna be, NFC is a crapshoot. So like we could be I could say 7 and then a team wins 9 and nothing be different than what my evaluation is. You know, like I could still say the exact same thing, and then but if the Bears get a edge rusher, will that make me go from 8 to 9? It could, but right now without an edge rusher, that defensive line is so bad. I think that's where you lose most of the time.
Right. I mean, okay, so the Bears have 8 picks next year.
Mm-hmm.
2 of them of which are firsts.
Yeah.
Now, before week 9, was it? Is it week 9? I keep forgetting now because of the schedule change. Did they up the trade block by a week or no?
No, I believe it's still
at 8, right?
At week 8, I believe.
They should up it a week. If you ask me, they can make a trade for an edge, which they most desperately need.
They don't even have to because we still have like $33 million under the cap. We could still go sign someone for a big 1-year, $14 million contract and nothing.
Who's available?
Yannick Ngakoue.
Yannick Ngakoue is available?
Ngakoue, yeah, he's still out there. Jadeveon Clowney, Leonard Floyd. What's the one from the Chiefs?
Hang on, I'm pulling it up as well. I got to look at this.
This is all like off the top of my head, so I'm just trying.
No, you're good. You're good.
Frank Clark.
I haven't looked at it yet.
Frank Clark is still available right now.
I heard he might go back to the Chiefs.
Well, I know that it depends on it's about money.
Yeah, no, it is. No, it is. Yeah, Frank Clark.
Yeah, no, yeah. Do you see old man Robert Quinn come back?
No, and they've already said that they don't want him.
Yannick Ngakoue is still there. Jadeveon Clowney, I don't see why.
Jadeveon's going to Texas for a cheap deal. He wants to go to Texas. There's no need for anyone to.
Dwayne Smoot might be kind of there. All right, you know what? I was gonna talk about that.
I don't see it.
I
don't know why.
wasn't gonna bring that up, but he hasn't been signed yet. And I guess while we're doing every single team, I was thinking about
throw in why you could
bringing in it on every team, but the likelihood of the Bears getting him, it's the talks hasn't happened. Is it a possibility? Yes, because they have the money.
We have the most
but is
money.
D-Hop really going to want to go here? That's the main question.
I could see him, but it literally have to not work with the Eagles. They have to not work with the Falcons. They have to not work with the Bills. They have to not work with the Chiefs. They have to not work like with the Browns. And then like if you go past those 5 teams and someone has to sign them and we have money and we have a spot, why not? But I think it hurt the Bears because you're trying to figure out what the hell Chase Claypool is.
Yeah.
So you bring in a guy who's going to definitely start over Chase Claypool, then you wasted a 2nd round pick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. It's because he's going to come in, he's going to be easily the number 1. Like that's just easy. DJ Moore and Mooney would benefit off of that as well because now it'll open it up for them. You can't. That's a 3-headed monster. That anywhere D-Hop goes, it's going to open it up for a lot of the receivers, and it's going to be crazy. So, but yeah, it's a crapshoot after the Eagles and Niners, but definitely watching the Bears this year. We say 7 wins, so we'll see how it goes.
I think the biggest thing is just about getting the edge rusher. If you don't have an edge rusher, then there's no. I can't say argue we're gonna get the more wins. No, you have no one to rush the quarterback. If your safety's leading your team in sacks, you're not going to be good on defense.
Yeah,
that's just what it is. And DeMarcus Walker is a good piece, but he's not a dominant guy. So if you put Yannick in there, that's one thing. Even if you put Leonard Floyd in there, because he can come in and transition in and stuff like that. That would make more
both
sense
if they wanted to.
They could sign them both and still have $20 million. Like,
So that's a possibility. I just think that the very first move that the Bears are going to do is going to be edge, whether it's through the through this season they sign someone, trade someone, or free agency next year, or even in the draft. Because next year's draft, the edge runners next year are fast.
Yeah, I see that coming, and that's why I say 1-year deals. That's why you get 1-year deals this year, and then you go get your guy next year. You get a wide receiver and an edge rusher in your first round because you probably won't have 2 picks in the top 15.
Right. So, Anyways, that's Mark, you have anything for these Bears?
I think they'll definitely be better than last year. I think they're headed in the right direction. I just don't know if this will be their year.
Yeah. Give them 4 or 5 more wins than they did last year.
Oh, 4, 5, yeah.
Yeah, about that. And that's usually how teams that
I will put them at 8
with 2 wins, they usually 3 wins.
That's what I mean, 8 is a good come up.
I think so. I agree with that. So I think it finishes Minnesota, Detroit, Chicago, and Green Bay.
I don't believe in Minnesota. I don't believe in Minnesota.
Minnesota's defense sucks.
Well, and I don't know what their offense is going to be when they're trying to get rid of Cousins. Cook is going to be there.
Yeah. It's going to be. I don't know. It's interesting.
Is this in an order?
Yeah,
because that's a shitty order. I'm sorry, Anthony.
I think Minnesota and Chicago are fighting for second. Detroit's number 1. Minnesota and Chicago are both like 8 wins, 8 or 9 win teams. That's what they are.
Minnesota's defense is not going to hold.
They still they had 10 points difference between winning and losing. Like their plus or minus was 10 points for the entire season.
Their offense is so good, that's what keeps them in the game. That's the issue with Minnesota. Now, do I think Detroit's going to be number 1? Yes. Chicago can compete, but we need to see what Green Bay. Minnesota's like my last. Well, I'll give it 3rd. I don't know about Green Bay. They're the weird ones here. They're the redhead stepchild here because of what's going on there.
Yeah, the reports coming out of their camp is awful.
Yeah, so I don't know what Green Bay's going to do. We'll see. It might be funny to watch. I don't know, but I do think Detroit's going to be probably contending for number 1. And depending on how Chicago does defensively, we'll see.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't think anyone said anything outlandish about this. This division is not good. All right. It's not great division by any means. I don't think any of these teams are going to be the Super Bowl representative for the NFC. But as far as competing with each other, I could see 11 wins, 10 and 11 wins the division, and I could see a team with 9 and a team with 8. Like everyone's going to be very close. And I could see the Packers only win 6, honestly.
Yeah. I think that, this is the first team that we've done from this division. So as we get deeper and a deeper dive into the other teams and we start looking at their depth chart, myself and Mark will actually look. Because we valued our opinions and we changed a little bit on Panthers, how we felt about them. And we looked at the Colts and we're like, actually, now that I'm thinking, like, we changed our minds about when we actually started looking at this. And happy Memorial Day to you, too, as well, my guy.
Yes, happy Memorial Day, guys.
So, yeah.
Yes, definitely good.
But, yeah, no, Anthony says, I think that Detroit and Minnesota for the 1 spot, but I think Minnesota edges them out by a game. That's
literally, if you say that, you thinking Detroit's going to Detroit. That's the only way that happens. That Detroit's going to.
I disagree, but
combust.
I don't.
Minnesota's winning the division at 8 and 9 or 8.
I don't think Minnesota.
8 and 9.
I don't. And you have the Bears and the Lions like right there at 7 wins.
I could be really wrong, but look, I have to get to their team, and like I said, I don't think their defense is going to hold it. But we'll see how it goes.
Because it was bad last year, and all they did was get rid of people.
Yeah, they haven't done anything extra.
Minnesota they got rid of a lot of guys.
Yeah, they didn't do anything extra. They
spent a 2nd round pick on a corner, but that's about it.
Yeah, I can't see.
That's a hot take. That's a hot take. I see maybe 8 wins. Look, all you need.
I can see 11-6 for Detroit, and I can
see 7 wins in some of these divisions get them in the playoffs. and we have the Bears here. Yeah, exactly. So 11, 12, that's interesting.
I think when you realize it's 17 games, not 16, that's why I always tend to go 1 win higher. Because I feel like this is an 8-8 team. Well, then they're a 9-8 team. I always try to think whatever I'm thinking, I go a list 1 win higher. So right. Like that's why I say 8-9 wins. I can see it because I think it's an 8-8 team. We are a 500 team that can either be 9 wins. 7 wins is not like beyond. If I'm saying 8 wins, 7 wins is not beyond possibility.
8 and 1.
So that's why if we could tie a game, I could see us being an 8-1 team. Like literally, we could be a team very similar to Detroit last year.
Yeah, I agree. With that being said, I like that ending. They could definitely be 8-8, but time will tell. And we still have a lot of teams left. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about the Tennessee Titans. So, stop by and say hi.
Yeah,
we don't want to do it either. We don't want to do it either. But hey, we've committed to all 32 teams, and we're going to break down the teams. I think the only guy I'm excited about is Treylon Burks.
Hey, we've done two of their teams in their division already. Let's keep it going.
Aquanco, that's it. I
want to mention, guys, I think Texas are going to be better than you guys are saying. I really do. I could see 5 or 6 wins. You said 4.5.
That's what we have them at.
I thought you said 4.5. I said 5.
I feel like the Texans are you last year.
They could be. They totally could be. So
this
I cannot argue. I can't. I thought you said 4.5, right?
We have 4.5.
Yeah, I said 5. I said 5 or 6. That's what I said. I feel like it's an.
See, I had 4, and Mark had 5, or one of us had 5. I can't remember if the Colts had 5, he had 5, or I can't remember which one, but we kind of went in the middle, and we went with 4.5. This is what we have so far here with them both, the top left corner in that division so far. So
I can see
let me get
Carolina and the Texans be the same. That's
but they means more offense and just thinks they can outscore those offenses. Many division opponents don't have crazy offenses, so it doesn't worry me as much. Yeah, but you have the rest of the league.
You have an entire rest of the league that you got to play, and Detroit does have a great crazy offense.
Yeah, we'll see. May not be as a guest. A show for Tennessee overview. Let's donate the extra time to cover the Niners. But we'll get to the Niners, okay? You want to know when I'm getting to the Niners? All right. I'll tell you when I'm getting to the Niners. I'm going to do the Niners, myself and Mark.
Niners are the last show.
Yeah, they have to be. Them or Detroit. I mean, or
they
Cleveland.
Drafted after the Browns, right?
Yeah, or them or Cleveland. I don't know.
Yeah, no, they literally they were the last person to pick a pick. Yeah. Was 49ers. And their first pick, kicker.
San Francisco 49ers. We'll make it somehow.
I don't even have them on my list. That's how far back they are. So if the Browns will have Dolphins, Browns in July.
Browns, 49ers.
So July 7th is when we're doing the Niners.
Or sorry, Miami Broncos.
Yeah, Miami Broncos, Browns.
Yep.
So July 7th is when we're doing the Niners.
If everything goes according to plan.
If myself and Mark don't have anything going on and we keep to the schedule, that's when we'll be doing that. And that is the stupidest comment I've ever seen. I don't care, Anthony. Oh, yeah, save the best for... Get the hell out of here. Save the best for last. Stupid. Anthony, I hate you so much. All right, brother. You take care of yourself, Anthony. Guys, Brian, thanks for coming in. Talk about the Bears tomorrow. We'll be doing the Tennessee Titans as we talk about them.
Good luck.
All I got to say is bear down. Go Bears. Hopefully Justin Fields does good because I expect great things out of them. Hopefully they surprise us and do more than just seven wins. I don't know. You never know because
it's the NFC. Who knows what the hell's going to happen there?
The NFL is a wild sport. But look, all right, guys. Take care. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching.
Yep. Later.
Getting hyped when I aim up. Elevating that game up. Stepping up to the competition. Only first place, and that's how I'm living. I'm winning till they digging up my grave. Eating all the things up on my plate. Game face when I step up into place. I was born and when I watched me elevate. I was born and when watch me elevate.